This video is about Osiris guards Duat'S gates from chaos until Anubis betrays his trust. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the realm of Kemet, where the sun painted the skies in hues of gold and crimson, the god Osiris stood sentinel at the gates of Duat, the underworld. A majestic figure adorned in flowing white linen, his skin like polished emerald, he bore the weight of the dead upon his shoulders. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Osiris felt the tremors of chaos beneath the earth, a whisper of turmoil that stirred unease in his heart. For ages, he had guided the souls of the departed, leading them through the shadowed paths of Duat, where the sun fell silent and the stars flickered like distant memories. His presence there was a bastion against the encroaching darkness, the timeless guardian of balance. Yet, as dusk fell, he sensed a rising tempest brewing in the realm of the living. From the depths of Duat, the cries of lost souls echoed, a cacophony of sorrow that pierced through the stillness of the night. The spirits cried out for deliverance, their cries like the rustle of dead leaves in a forgotten forest. Osiris tightened his grip on a crook and flail, symbols of his power, feeling the weight of their despair. "Fear not, children of the earth," he proclaimed, his voice resonating with authority. "I shall guide you through the shadows, for the path to rebirth shall always be found." But even as he spoke, doubts crept into his mind. The ancient forces of chaos, primordial and restless, stirred beyond the gates. Osiris felt a shift in the winds, the whispers grew louder, echoing betrayal, an omen he could not ignore. As he contemplated the looming threat, he heard the soft, measured footsteps of Anubis, the jackal-headed god of embalming and the protector of graves. Anubis entered the chamber, his presence a mixture of strength and subtlety, his eyes glinting like obsidian. "Osiris," Anubis began, his voice smooth as silk, "the balance we have fought to maintain is fragile. The forces of chaos seek to breach our gates. We must unite our strengths to withstand the oncoming storm." Osiris regarded Anubis with a mixture of gratitude and weariness. "We have defended Duat against every onslaught, my brother, but the dark whispers grow louder. Can we trust the hearts of the living to uphold their oaths?" Anubis tilted his head, his gaze unwavering. "Even the purest of souls can stray into darkness, but I have forged alliances among the living. They will rally to our cause." Little did Osiris know, Anubis' alliances were not forged in loyalty, but in cunning a plot to unseat the balance of power that he secretly coveted. As they prepared for the inevitable confrontation, word spread across Kemet, reaching the ears of the great warriors and heroes. Among them was Horus, the falcon-headed god, revered for his prowess in battle and his unwavering loyalty to Osiris. With a heart ablaze with honor, he sought his father's counsel. "Father," Horus declared, his voice ringing with determination, "let me lead the charge against the forces of chaos. We shall not let them encroach upon our sacred lands." Osiris nodded, pride swelling within him. "Your courage inspires me, Horus, but heed my words. Chaos is a cunning foe. Prepare your warriors well, for the battle will be unlike any we have faced." The sun rose high, casting its radiant light over the land as the warriors gathered. Clad in shimmering armor, they stood shoulder to shoulder, their resolve unyielding. The air crackled with anticipation, the tension palpable. As the day unfolded, Osiris stood at the gate of Duat, his heart heavy with foreboding. Alongside him, Anubis watched, his eyes glinting with a secretive thrill, as if the coming storm excited him rather than frightened him. The horizon darkened suddenly, a shadow spreading like a blight. Out from the abyss came monstrous forms, twisted and distorted, their eyes glowing with malice. The forces of chaos, the beasts of old, ancient titans that defied time, descended upon Duat, hungry for domination. "Stand firm," Horus roared, raising his spear high. "Today we fight not just for our realm, but for every soul that has passed beyond the veil." The warriors surged forward, a tide of righteous fury aimed at the encroaching darkness. Osiris and Anubis flanked them, wielding their divine powers to bolster the warriors' courage. As battle erupted, chaos reigned supreme. Clashing of steel rang out like thunder, drowning the cries of desperation. The beasts roared, their forms grotesque. One bore the head of a lion, another the fangs of a serpent, while a third had arms like twisted tree branches. Osiris fought valiantly, channeling the strength of the earth. With every swing of his flail, he banished a creature back into the abyss, but for every foe he felled, two more emerged. The skies darkened further, as if the sun itself recoiled from the horror below. Anubis, however, moved with a different purpose. He darted through the battlefield, a shadow among shadows, and whispered incantations that twisted the hearts of the living. Each incantation sowed seeds of discord amongst the warriors, turning brother against brother. "Feel the fear, embrace the doubt," Anubis whispered, a sinister smile curling upon his lips. Let chaos reign. As the battle raged on, Horus felt the tides turning. He caught sight of his father, surrounded by the chaos, fighting valiantly, but he sensed a darker force at play. With a fierce cry, he summoned a tempest, channeling the wind to clear a path through the battlefield. "Warriors of Kemet, gather around me," he shouted, determination surging in his veins. "Together, we summon the strength of the sun, we will not falter." The warriors rallied, inspired by Horus's resolve. They surged forward, pushing back the chaos with renewed vigor. Yet, amid the clamor, Horus felt the sharp sting of betrayal, the air heavy with uncertainty. Suddenly, from the depths of the tumult, Anubis revealed his true form, a dark shadow against the light. "Enough of your foolish hopes, Horus. You are but a pawn in this game. It is time for the true balance to be restored." Horus's heart raced as he confronted Anubis. "You betray us, brother. We fought side by side, yet now you seek our downfall." Anubis chuckled darkly, his eyes alight with ambition. "To rise, one must first bring down the throne of Osiris. I will reshape Duat in my image, with chaos as my ally." Rising from the battleground, Osiris' voice boomed, breaking through the swirling chaos. "Anubis, you wish to embrace what should never be. Your treachery will only bring ruin." But Anubis was adamant, his figure flickering between shadow and light. "No, dear brother, the balance must shift. You cling to the past, while I forge a new order." The clash between brother gods escalated, swirling like a tempest. As the powers collided, the battleground trembled beneath them. Horus, torn between loyalty and righteousness, grasped his spear, ready to intervene. The warriors felt the pull of despair, the very essence of chaos threatening to consume them. With each moment, shadows flickered at the edge of their vision, and doubt gnawed at their hearts. "Do not falter, remember our purpose," Horus called out, rallying the warriors amidst the chaos. "We are the flame against the darkness. We fight for the souls of the departed." With renewed resolve, the warriors surged forward once more. Yet in the depths of his heart, Horus felt the bitter taste of betrayal linger. Anubis' treachery loomed like a shadow over their sacred fight. It became clear, not only did they battle the chaos outside, but they also faced a greater darkness within their own ranks. As the skies rumbled with the weight of impending doom, Osiris and Anubis clashed, each strike echoing with the pain of broken trust. In the heart of the chaos, the fate of Kemet hung in the balance, a thread woven between honor, betrayal, and an uncertain destiny. The war for Duat had only just begun, and the shadows of betrayal loomed larger than ever. As the tumult of battle raged on, the air thick with a mingled sense of earth and blood, the warriors of Kemet found themselves in the throes of despair. With each clash of steel, the remnants of hope began to feel like a distant whisper. Horus stood resolute amidst the chaos, his heart a battlefield of its own, torn between his love for his father and the treachery of Anubis. "Warriors of Kemet," he called, voice piercing through the cacophony. "We are not merely soldiers, we are the shield against the night. Rally to me, and let our hearts blaze against the darkness." The warriors, emboldened by his fierce resolve, responded with a unified roar, their shouts echoing through the underworld. Yet in that moment of renewed strength, the skies above Duat darkened further, as if in response to their defiance. From the depths of the abyss, the monstrous forms of chaos surged forward, a tide of ferocity seeking to drown their hope. Each creature, a grotesque mockery of life, bore the essence of nightmares, serpents with venomous fangs, beasts with claws forged from shadows, and spirits twisted by despair. Amidst the fray, Osiris and Anubis' confrontation escalated, their energies intertwining with the winds of war. Osiris, his heart heavy with betrayal, struck fiercely at Anubis, his flail cutting through the air with divine precision. "You are my brother, Anubis. We swore an oath to protect the balance of Duat, yet you choose to embrace darkness." Anubis, his shadow flickering like a flame, parried the blow with a swift motion, his voice dripping with venomous arrogance. "And you cling to a past that weighs heavy upon us. The old ways are shackles. Osiris, I will free us all." With each strike, the clash of their ideals rang out, reverberating through the battlefield. The warriors, caught in the tempest of their conflict, watched in awe as the very fabric of reality twisted and turned around the two gods. Lightning crackled overhead, illuminating the faces of the valiant and the fallen alike. "Together, we could have forged a new destiny," Osiris cried, desperation creeping into his tone. "But your ambition blinds you. Ambition is the flame that ignites the darkness." Anubis retorted, his voice a thunderous echo. "And I will not be the one left behind. Embrace the chaos, brother, or be consumed by it." As their words hung in the air, Horus surged forward, intent on breaking this cycle of destruction. He raised his spear to the heavens, calling forth the sacred winds that had once carried the sun across the sky. Enough, Anubis, you would sacrifice our kin for your twisted vision. We fight for our very existence. But Anubis turned his gaze, a smirk dancing on his lips as he summoned forth a legion of shadowy figures. These brethren you speak of are merely pawns in the game of eternity. Let them see the truth in darkness. Horus felt the weight of despair wash over him as the warriors hesitated, caught in the pull of Anubis' dark incantations. Friends turn against friends, swords clashing in confusion and fear. The bond they had forged through countless battles frayed, threatening to unravel into chaos. Fight against it. Horus shouted, his voice rising above the din. Remember the honor that binds us. We are the light that pierces the shadows. Together, we can reclaim our souls from the grip of despair. With a rallying cry, Horus surged into the fray, cutting through the ranks of the chaotic beasts with a fervor born of desperation. Each thrust of his spear sent shockwaves of energy cascading through the battlefield, igniting the spirits of the warriors around him. Stand firm, he roared, his heart ablaze with the fire of loyalty. We are the guardians of Kemet, the protectors of the fallen. Together, we shall vanquish this dread. Osiris, witnessing his son's determination, felt a rekindling of hope surge within him. Yes, my children, remember the honor we hold. Fight for the light of the sun, for the souls we guide into the afterlife. Yet in the midst of this resurgence, Anubis harnessed the power of chaos, his dark magic swirling around him. You cannot fight what you cannot see, he shouted, shadows erupting like tendrils to ensnare Horus and the warriors. Let despair consume you. Horus dodged, weaving through the encroaching darkness, his resolve steeling as he fought against the very essence of Anubis' betrayal. I will not falter, we will not fall into your web of deceit. With each swing of his spear, Horus illuminated the darkness around him. Light erupted in golden waves, severing the bonds of despair that sought to entrap his brothers in arms. The warriors rallied, casting aside the shadows of doubt that Anubis had sown in their hearts. Fight, fight for each other, he cried, feeling a surge of energy flow through him as they pushed against the tide of chaos. But even as victory seemed within grasp, Anubis unleashed a wave of energy that ripped through the battlefield. Instantly, the warriors found themselves engulfed in illusions, visions of their worst fears and failures manifested before their eyes. You see, dear Horus, Anubis taunted, his voice laced with malice. The battle lies not with brute strength, but within the heart. Can you conquer the darkness within yourself? Horus stumbled as memories of past losses flooded his mind, his mother's sorrow, the betrayal of allies long gone. He felt the tendrils of despair creeping in, threatening to swallow him whole. But through the fog of chaos, the image of Osiris, steadfast and resolute, flickered in his mind. No, he shouted, shaking off the grip of darkness. I am the son of Osiris. I will not yield to despair. With renewed vigor, he struck against the illusions, shattering them like glass, the light of his spirit cutting through the shadows. Osiris, witnessing his son's struggle, summoned all his strength, channeling the essence of Duat itself. Horus, the power of the living flows through you. Believe in the bond we share, and we shall overcome this darkness together. With a fierce roar, Horus channeled the divine energy, raising his spear high. For Kemet, for our fallen. The warriors rallied behind him, their spirits soaring as they harnessed their collective strength. They surged forward, united under the banner of hope, breaking through the haze of shadow that Anubis had cast. Anubis felt the tide of battle shift, his eyes narrowing. You may have rallied your kin, but I will not be bested so easily. With a flourish, he conjured forth the full force of chaos, a swirling vortex of darkness that threatened to engulf all. But Osiris, fueled by the love for his son and the souls they had sworn to protect, stood firm. Together, white children, we shall be the beacon that sheds light upon the abyss. He raised his flail, channeling the very essence of life and death, merging his power with that of Horus. The energies collided, creating a radiant explosion of light that surged forth, illuminating the darkened skies of Duat. The warriors, emboldened by the divine harmony, pushed forward, clashing against the monstrous forms that sought to drown them. In that climactic moment, Osiris and Horus stood side by side, a force of nature against the encroaching darkness. Your ambition will be your undoing, Anubis, Osiris declared, the light of their unity piercing through the shadows. As the forces of chaos recoiled, Horus took a step forward, his heart full of determination. This is the moment of reckoning. Stand with me, brothers and sisters, and let us reclaim our realm. The warriors charged, their spirits ablaze with hope, a tide of light crashing against the darkness that had threatened to consume them. Together, they surged against Anubis, the clash of powers creating a cataclysmic storm of light and shadow. And in that moment, amidst the chaos of battle, destiny converged upon the sacred grounds of Duat. With a final, resounding cry, Horus and Osiris unleashed their combined power, a blinding force that shattered the veil of darkness and turned the tide of the war. As the dust settled and silence fell over the battlefield, the remnants of chaos writhed in defeat, the once mighty beasts fading into the abyss from whence they came. The warriors stood together, breathless and weary, but triumphant, having faced the darkness within themselves and emerged united. Anubis, his ambitions crumbled before the light of their unity, retreated into the shadows, his laughter a haunting echo that lingered in the air. This is not over, my brothers. Darkness will always seek to reclaim its throne. As the last remnants of his presence faded, Horus turned to Osiris, his heart swelling with both pride and sorrow. Father, we have won this battle, but the war for our souls is far from over. Osiris nodded, his emerald skin aglow with the light of hope. Indeed, my son. We must remain vigilant, for the darkness is cunning and relentless. Betrayal has taken root in our midst, and we must guard against its return. As the remnants of chaos slinked back into the void, Kemet stood on the precipice of a fragile peace. The warriors, bruised yet emboldened, sketched the shapes of their fallen brethren in their minds, a painful reminder of the price they had paid. Osiris lifted his flail to the sky, channeling the remaining light as he addressed the weary soldiers. Brothers and sisters, his voice echoed like thunder, you have shown remarkable valor today, but while we have banished the minions of chaos, the heart of darkness remains unvanquished. Horus stepped forward, the weight of his father's gaze invigorating him. What shall we do? We cannot let Anubis retreat into the shadows. He will return, and he will come back stronger. A tremor of uncertainty rippled through the assembly, the mention of Anubis' name reviving the specters of doubt that loomed in their minds. Osiris raised a hand, grounding their spirits. We shall not let fear dictate our actions. We will forge new alliances, cleanse the hearts of those who were swayed by Anubis' ecstasy. The path ahead is fraught with trials, but together we shall endure. In that moment, the sun broke through the lingering clouds above, casting a golden light across the battlefield. Inspired, the warriors shouted in unison, their voices merging into a powerful cry of defiance. But Horus, burdened, felt a whisper tugging at the edges of his consciousness, a nagging doubt hidden beneath the surface. If Anubis had turned against them once, what kept him from doing so again? Father, we cannot underestimate him. We must expose his treachery, hold him accountable for the darkness he has sown, Horus urged, his heart racing with the urgency of their situation. Assemble our finest warriors, Osiris commanded, and send emissaries to the realms beyond. We will seek the counsel of the gods, for in unity lies our greatest strength. Days passed as the warriors restored Duat, the air heavy with the scents of earth and incense. Together, they mourned the lost, honoring their spirits with rituals under the glowing sky. Yet, beneath the surface of this newfound hope, the shadows stirred, plotting revenge. Meanwhile, deep within the obsidian caverns of Duat, Anubis seethed with fury, his essence fraying like the edges of darkness itself. Fools, he hissed, his voice echoing against the stone. They think they have triumphed over me, but I will show them the true depth of oblivion. Rising from the depths of despair, Anubis summoned an army of shadows, twisted beings of forgotten souls, each one a reflection of the darkness that festered within him. We go forth, he commanded, his voice a chilling whisper. Spread chaos and fear among them, let them taste the bitterness of betrayal once more. As his army descended upon Kemet, the warriors of Osiris prepared for the next inevitable clash. Horus stood upon the battlements, surveying the horizon where the sun dipped behind storm clouds, an omen he could not ignore. Father, we must heed this warning, he said, turning to Osiris, who stood with a determined grace. Anubis will not rest. We must strike before he can gather his strength. Osiris nodded, his emerald eyes reflecting the weight of their fate. Indeed, we must take the fight to him. We will not allow him the time to build his forces. Assemble the warriors. We march at dawn. The following day, as the first rays of sunlight broke over the horizon, the warriors of Kemet, clad in shimmering armor and battle regalia, gathered at the gates of Duat. Each warrior's heart beat in unison with the hope of a brighter tomorrow, the promise of vanquishing the darkness once and for all. Horus, his gaze sharp as a falcon-s, rallied the troops. We stand united today, not merely as warriors, but as guardians of the fallen. Let the sun guide our path and the spirits of our kin ignite our souls. The warriors erupted in a roar, their spirits ignited by Horus' proclamation as they marched toward the heart of darkness. Each step resonated with the echoes of their ancestors, their resolve unbreakable. As they journeyed deeper into the abyss, the air thickened with anticipation, shadows flickering at the edges of their vision. It was then that Anubis revealed himself, emerging from the darkness like a spectre, his figure imposing and malevolent. "Look who comes to challenge the inevitable," he taunted, his voice like a slithering serpent. How quaint, the sons and daughters of Osiris believing they can extinguish the flame of chaos. "Anubis," Horus growled, raising his spear. "Your treachery ends here. We will no longer be pawns in your twisted game. Surrender, and we may yet show you mercy." Anubis laughed, a sound that echoed through the cavern like the tolling of a death knell. "Mercy from you? How Navi? I am the harbinger of chaos, the redeemer of shadows. I will not be defeated so easily." With a swift motion, he conjured his army of shadows, creatures of pure malice that surged forward, a wave of darkness intent on consuming the light. "Prepare yourselves," Horus shouted, adrenaline coursing through him as he charged into the fray. The warriors followed suit, weapons drawn, their battle cries echoing against the stone walls of Jur. The clash of sword against shadow erupted, filling the air with chaos and fury. Horus moved with grace and precision, his spear cutting through the shadows like a beacon of hope. As they fought, Osiris stood firm, channeling the power of the departed souls. "Fight, my children, for every spirit we guide, we grow stronger, for every shadow we banish, we reclaim our light." But Anubis, consumed by fury and desperation, commanded his forces with a cruel fervor. "You think yourselves strong? I shall show you the depths of despair." With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed a wave of darkness that engulfed Horus, the shadows swirling around him like a tempest. "Feel it, Horus, the despair of your kin, they will haunt you forever." Anubis cackled, reveling in the chaos, his heart darkening further. Yet, within the tempest, Horus found a flicker of determination. He reached out to the spirits of Kemet, remembering their sacrifices and the bond they had forged. "No," he shouted, breaking free from the shadow's grip. "I will not be consumed by fear. I am the son of Osiris. I will rise." With a surge of energy, Horus struck through the darkness, illuminating the shadows with a radiant light. The warriors around him felt the warmth of his spirit, their fear dissipating like mist before the sun. "Together, we are unstoppable," Horus called, and with renewed vigor, the warriors surged, pushing back against the tide of chaos. The battle raged on, the clash of light and darkness created a tempest that shook the very foundations of Jur. Osiris and Anubis faced each other amidst the chaos, their powers colliding in a cataclysmic struggle. "Your ambition will be your undoing, Anubis," Osiris declared, summoning the strength of the departed. "You seek to tear apart the fabric of existence, but your time has come to an end." "Foolish brother," Anubis shot back, his eyes blazing with a malevolent fire. "You will see my true power unleashed. The darkness shall not be vanquished." With a final, resounding clash, their powers erupted in a blinding light, a shockwave that sent both gods reeling. As the dust settled, the warriors of Kemet found themselves standing in the aftermath, victorious yet battered. Anubis, weakened and furious, hissed a curse before disappearing into the shadows. "This is not over. Chaos will rise again." A silence fell over the battlefield. Horus turned to his father, breaths heavy but hearts lightened. "We have faced the darkness and emerged victorious, father, yet I fear Anubis will come again." Osiris nodded solemnly, looking over the warriors who stood battered yet unyielding. "Our fight is far from over, but today we have defended Kemet against the shadows. Together we shall continue to safeguard the balance." With the resolve of warriors renewed and the guardian of the underworld standing by their side, they vowed to prepare for whatever darkness may come. Together they would forge a new destiny, a tale of honor, perseverance, and the unyielding light that would shine against the encroaching shadows, an eternal saga that would echo through the ages of eternity. The air in Jura crackled with energy, a foreboding omen as the sun dipped behind the horizon, painting the skies in shades of violet and indigo. Warriors of Kemet stood shoulder to shoulder, their armor gleaming dully under the dim light. Horus, the falcon-headed god of the sky, raised his spear, a beacon of hope against the approaching darkness. "Brothers and sisters," he called, his voice cutting through the gathering shadows. "Today we reclaim our realm. We have banished chaos, but darkness ever lurks at the edges, waiting for a moment of weakness." The warriors roared in agreement, their spirits ignited by Horus' fervor. Each warrior, a sentinel against despair, rattled their weapons in unison, forging a melody of defiance that echoed through the cavernous halls of Jura. Above them, the oppressive shadows stirred, and from their depths emerged Anubis, his silhouette dark and imposing. The jackal-headed god bared his fangs in a twisted grin. "Do you hear them, Osiris?" Anubis sneered, his voice a chilling whisper that danced through the air. "Your precious warriors are but flickering candles in a storm. I will snuff them out, one by one." Osiris, standing resolute, his emerald skin glowing with the light of divinity, replied, "You may believe you can extinguish our flame, brother, but light cannot be banished by shadow." we are united in purpose, and as one, we will stand against you." Anubis let loose a laugh, a sound devoid of warmth. "Unity, how quaint! I will turn your allies against you. Watch as despair creeps into their hearts. Doubt festers in their souls. They will turn on one another, and you will be left to mourn in the ruins of your faith." With a wave of his hand, Anubis summoned forth his army of shadows, creatures born from forgotten fears and ancient nightmares, their forms shifting and writhing like smoke. They surged forward, a tide of darkness intent on claiming the light. "Hold the line!" Horus cried, his voice rising above the chaos. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for every soul that has crossed over. Stand firm, warriors of Kemet." The warriors, fueled by courage, clashed against the encroaching shadows. The air filled with the sharp clang of metal, the cries of the valiant mingling with the howls of the damned. Horus danced atop the battlefield like a tempest, each thrust of his spear carving through the darkness, a radiant light amidst the chaos. Together, he shouted, rallying his kin. "Together we are stronger than any shadow. For every soul lost, we shall avenge them with our strength." Yet in the swelling chaos, the insidious whispers of Anubis began to seep into the hearts of the warriors. "Remember your fears," the shadows hissed, their voices a haunting echo. "Remember the losses, remember the betrayal that lies even among your own." Hesitation flickered in the eyes of a few, doubt creeping into their hearts. Horus felt the shift, the sudden lack of fervor among his brothers and sisters. "No," he shouted, recalling their purpose. "We are not defined by our losses, but by our resilience. We are the guardians of Kemet, bound by honor and the souls of our fallen." But the shadows clawed at the resolve, twisting their memories into blades of despair. One warrior faltered, his sword dropping to the ground, and suddenly he swung at his closest friend, convinced he had betrayed him. Chaos erupted as brother turned against brother, a cacophony of betrayal filling the air. "Fight it!" Horus cried, racing through the mayhem. "Do not let the darkness consume your heart." He reached for the warrior, attempting to drag him from the abyss of despair. But the shadows were relentless, weaving around him like serpents. "Your words mean nothing." Anubis taunted, watching with glee as his machinations unfolded. "Let them taste the bitterness of their own treachery. It will be their undoing." With renewed determination, Osiris summoned the power of the departed, channeling the collective will into a radiant shield of light. "We are not merely warriors. We are guardians of the balance. We will not crumble under the weight of despair." The light surged forth, a blinding beacon that pushed back against the darkness. Horus felt the warmth of his father's power, invigorating him as he rallied the warriors. "Remember the light, remember our purpose." One by one, the warriors began to shake off the shadow's hold. They raised their weapons high, inspired by the flare of hope that ignited within them. The tide of battle began to shift, light piercing through the darkness as each warrior found their strength again. But Anubis, furious at the defiance, unleashed a tempest of shadows, swirling tendrils of despair that sought to ensnare Horus and Osiris. "You think your light can extinguish me? I will show you the depths of oblivion. Together, we can outshine the darkness." Osiris roared, his voice penetrating through the chaos. He and Horus unleashed a cascading wave of energy that clashed with Anubis's darkness, the two forces intertwining in a dazzling display of power. As their energies collided, the battlefield trembled, the ground shaking beneath the weight of their conflict. The warriors, emboldened by the defiant struggle before them, surged forward, pushing against the shadowy tide that threatened to engulf them. "Fight for Kemet, for the fallen!" Horus shouted, his spear igniting with divine light as he struck through the heart of the shadowy horde. Each thrust echoed the sacrifices made by their ancestors, a reminder that their fight was not in vain. Yet amidst the turmoil, the flicker of darkness remained. Anubis, his eyes ablaze with fury, struck back with merciless ferocity, calling forth the shadows to envelop Horus once more. "You will fail, Horus, you are but a fleeting spark in an eternal night." Horus felt the tendrils of despair creep around him again, threatening to snuff out his light. But he remembered his father's words, remembered the souls they had fought for. "No," he roared, breaking free from the shadow's hold. "I will rise. I am the son of Osiris, and I will not be extinguished." With a surge of force, he broke through the embrace of darkness, illuminating the battlefield around him. "Together, warriors, we are the flame against the night." As the warriors rallied behind him, their spirits reignited, they surged forward, united as one. The tide of battle shifted, the shadows recoiling against the incandescent light that surged among them. "Anubis, your time has come." Osiris bellowed, the fury of the gods unleashed as his flail struck down upon the encroaching darkness. "You cannot extinguish the light of those who fight for honor and love." The clash of powers created a cataclysmic storm, shadows swirling around them, but Osiris and Horus stood firm, unyielding in their resolve. For every soul lost, we shall reclaim our light. Horus shouted, his voice mingling with the battle cries of the warriors. Together, they struck against Anubis, their energies colliding in a dazzling explosion that sent shockwaves throughout Duat. The shadows writhed and twisted, their forms disintegrating under the strength of unity. The echoes of Anubis's laughter faded into the void as he was forced to retreat into the shadows, his plans unraveled before the power of their union. "This is not over," he hissed, his voice lingering in the air like a curse. "Chaos will rise again." As the battlefield settled, the warriors of Kemet gathered, bruised yet triumphant, their hearts heavy with the toll of battle. Horus turned to his father, a mix of pride and sorrow in his eyes. "We have faced the darkness and emerged victorious, but the shadow of Anubis looms ever larger." Osiris nodded solemnly, surveying the weary warriors, the memory of their fallen kin etched into their very souls. "Indeed, my son, while we have triumphed today, the war against the darkness is never truly over. We must remain vigilant and prepare for whatever may come next." The sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the battlefield in a warm glow, a sign of hope amidst despair. The warriors raised their weapons high, the cries of victory echoing through Duat as they honored the spirits they had fought for. "We shall forge a new destiny," Horus proclaimed, his voice ringing with determination. "We will not let betrayal take root within us again. Together, we shall guard against the encroaching night." In that moment, as light pierced through the shadows, they vowed to stand united, their hearts bound by honor and the memory of those they had lost. The saga of Osiris and Horus, of warriors and shadows, would echo through the ages, a tale of perseverance, tragedy, and the unyielding light that rises against the darkness. In the silent aftermath, as the warriors tended to their wounds and mourned their losses, a promise lingered in the air, a promise that their legacy would shine bright against the abyss, forever etched in the annals of eternity.